Okay, it looks like I'm live. We're going to try this again because my feed just literally died. So we're going to try moving it through Zoom, which is where I wanted to move it, where I wanted to record it anyway. So I have my phone up so that I can watch comments. So I'm going to try this again. When you hop on, when you say hello, if you're watching the replay, hashtag it replay. Let me send you some love and connect with you. All right, looks like we got some people showing up already. Yay. Okay, so let's start this over, shall we? I want to do a little bit of a follow-up on the live I did last Monday. I was very vulnerable. I was very emotional about some energies that I was moving through. And I came online, I shared with you guys my revelations about accepting a version of myself, a role that I was playing as a mom, and seeing it reflected back to me and me not accepting my son's behaviors, the way that he processes things, the way that he does things, right? So I really thought that I had learned the lesson that was trying to be shown to me, but I did leave myself open to have this expanded further. And this is why I have labeled the live Empaths and Healers Beware, because this is really directed for you, whether you are a mom, no matter how you classify yourself as a healer, but really can be applied to anybody. But when I tuned into the collective, and I started to see that this is actually something going on for a lot of people right now. And I've had a lot of clients coming to me recently, literally in the last week, having these same issues and me having to address it with them. So I really want to bring this live and really dive deep a little bit into what's been coming up and the lesson that I continued to learn, because I wasn't done. Though I thought that the only thing that I was being shown was that I needed to work with the energies of acceptance more, right? Accepting myself more, accepting myself as a mom, and not needing to be perfect, and accepting him in the way that he processes. Yes, this was a piece of it, right? And this is why sometimes we need to allow things to marinate. We need to allow ourselves to see how this is applicable in other aspects of our life. And I didn't do that in that moment, but I did leave the door open. And what happened is I started to experience another lesson, and it showed up. And I did what I always do, right? I have somebody in my life who holds space for me, and I hold space for her. And we don't try to fix each other. We are there if we need each other, but we allow ourselves to talk and talk out loud and contemplate. And through this process, she said something that she didn't even realize would allow me to understand what was happening. And this is how the lesson unfolded for me. I tell you all of this because it's important for you to know how the process comes about, how I work through the energies that aren't serving me, because I endure in order to nurture for you, in order to guide you. So it's really important for me to share as much as I can about my own healing process and my stories, right? Directed through my eyes. So I started to get, I developed a sty in my eye, right? It's why I'm also not wearing makeup. So it's almost healed now, but I developed a sty, and a sty really represents conflict in your body, right? Conflicting energy. But the conflicting energy wasn't mine. I was taking on another person's energy and trying to heal their dis-ease in their body, trying to do that. And honestly, it wasn't intentional. I didn't have good boundaries with this person. And I noticed over the last week and a half that I was really barricading myself from this person. I wasn't allowing myself to be super close to them. I was really using old, outdated energy protection methods, which I don't do anymore. And that was my first cue that something was happening. I was layering myself. I was protecting myself. And it was just becoming an unconscious thing. So I wake up with this sty. I messaged my friend and I said, oh my gosh, I have this sty. This is what's happening. Why isn't this person like taking responsibility and doing their own work? And she said, look how attached you are, right? She said these words to me. Look how attached you are to this person and their issues. And in that moment, when she said those words, right, or a collection of those words, the light bulb went off and it sent me down into a trail of seeing a pattern that I had been doing. And I mean, this trail, this pattern goes all the way back to when I was a child. I was very young. And the pattern revealed my desire, my physical need, right? My body's need, my energy's need, the desire I have to fix other people, to take responsibility for their issues. And ironically, this has come up before. I developed a style on one of the retreats that I facilitated because, again, I was doing the same thing. I was taking that person's conflict in their body, in their life, that they weren't processing completely, and I was making it mine. I was making it my job and my responsibility to heal it, to take control of the situation and say, if you're not going to do it for yourself, I'm going to do it for you. And I noticed that as I look back on my life, I have done this from a very young age. So I was raised primarily by my father. And from a very young age, I remember literally cooking, cleaning, taking care of things, kind of being the woman of the house, right? Doing all the things for myself and for him. This continued on later in my life. I kind of was his accountant, his secretary, his maid, his shopper. I did everything for him. And a lot of it he asked for and a lot of it he didn't. But this continued. It continued with past husbands. It continued in other relationships with my friends. It continued into my role as a mom with my children, wanting to take their pain and make it go away, wanting to fix their problem. And this is what happens as empaths and healers. And this is a lot of the struggle between a narcissist and an empath, right? So this is the cycle that happens. We see somebody struggling. We see someone who's not well. I developed a pattern, I kid you not, of male relationship after relationship, of picking them who I could see were struggling, who were what we would classify as broken, right? These people were not willing to take responsibility for their own emotional issues. So I would keep calling them in over and over again in my relationships. I would call in people who I thought I could fix, thought I could make better, I could change them, right? That's the empath nature. That is the nature of the healer and the nurturer, right? We want to stay with them. We want to help them, right? We take responsibility for them. And that's the word that continuously comes up for me and for the other people who I've been working with. Taking responsibility for someone else's shit, for their dis-ease in their body, for their emotional issues, for their mental clutter, for their behaviors. And a mantra came through, and it was, I am only responsible for myself. And if you're somebody who feels the need to fix your children or your significant other, or to always be the friend that is like, hey, I have advice for you, then I want you to make that your mantra. Okay? Because I am super guilty of this, right? And friends and my family everywhere. I was putting myself in their business. And instead, what we are being asked to do is to hold space for them, right? We are only being asked to hold space for them. The word empathy, right? It almost means to take on another's pain. And this is why I don't like to use that word. No, I don't want you to be empathetic. I want you to be compassionate. And there's a difference in the two. When you are being empathetic, you are taking on that pain, right? That's actually what the word means. But if you strip all that away and you come down to what Source says, or what my team says that empathy is, it's I am you, you are me. This is why the rise of the empaths and them awakening first has really been a thing, right? why people go from not feeling anything to all of a sudden feeling all this stuff, why people awaken through emotional trauma. I am you, you are me. The premise of that is I know and feel what it's like to be where you are, to be in your shoes. I understand the pain that you are in right now, or the struggle that you are in right now. We hold space for them. And we do that by listening. That's it. When two ears come together, it creates a heart. And there's a reason for that. When you allow yourself to be in that presence with that person and allow their words to be heard, and all you're doing is bringing forth the energy of love and compassion. It's like what I told the girls in my Soul Flow experience. What I told them was, in order to hold space for someone, this, you guys are going to get just a little taste of the work that we're doing. It's like sitting with someone who's terminally ill. There's nothing you can do. There isn't. There's nothing to fix. You don't have the answer to their problem. You are only being asked to hold space for them, to send them love, to bring them compassion, to allow them to be seen and heard, and not from a space of pity either, because pity takes your power away. And we're not taking away anybody's power here. We're just hearing their words. We're allowing them to share with us what they're going through. And this is something that I will have to consciously and have been consciously working with, because while I'm pretty good at doing it with clients, right? And have really shifted with my friends. When it came to my immediate family, my kids, right? And my significant other, my husband, I didn't want them to suffer. I wanted to take their pain away. I wanted to say, here's my healing process. It works for my clients. You need to do this. But guess what? It wasn't my place, right? And it's not yours either. Everybody has their own journey. And this is why I preach and preach and preach and preach to lead by example, especially when it comes to our kids, but also for our friends and for our significant others and for our clients. When we lead by example, we show them the way, right? We lead them to a better way of dealing with it. You can lead the horse to water, but you can't make it drink, no matter how much you try. And when you can't do it, what happens? Empaths, right? Healers, moms, coaches. When you can't seem to fix the problem, we tend to take it on for ourselves and heal it in our energy. But guess what? When we do that, the cycle just repeats. So now you have made them feel better, right? You've made them feel better. And you now probably feel like crap. You've taken on their emotion. You've taken on their heaviness. They didn't learn how to transmute it. They didn't learn how to work through their emotions. They didn't know what to do with that. Sorry about that. They didn't know. They didn't learn anything. I really can't wait for my new case to come so I can see. I can have my phone not fall everywhere. Let's see if we can get that to work. I will read the comments, I promise, in just a minute. But this is something I have been doing my whole life. And it's about time for it to stop. And through this past full moon, that's what I released. I released the need to take responsibility for my husband or for my kids, to allow them to continue on their journey, because everything that they experience, every hardship, every struggle, every lesson, every illness, everything that they experience, when I disconnect from receiving that energy from an aspect of healing it, they are left to sit with it. And what they do with it is their business. Now, here's the difference. If somebody asks you for guidance, that's one thing. But the unsolicited, let me fix you, let me tell you what to do, is what needs to change. And this happens unconsciously for many of you, right? You don't even realize that you're taking on your husband's pain or your wife's pain. You don't realize that you're taking your kids' energy on. It's funny because through this process, as I was understanding what was happening over this, not this weekend, but last weekend, I was drawn to the book Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, from John Gray from like the 90s, right? But there was a segment of him on Oprah that I never, ever forgot. And I was a teenager at the time that this came out. But there was a big graphic that he made. He did the cardboard cutouts, and it was the woman getting all upset, right? And showing the transference of energy. So it would be this back and forth seesaw. The wife would give all the energy to the husband, right? So the wife would drain and the husband would fill up. And then he would scream back or yell back or talk back, whatever, and it would shift again. And this is what happens unconsciously between those who we are closest with. This is also why our closest relationships are our mirrors, right? Because we're always pulling from each other and reflecting it back, especially if you have poor boundaries, right? And boundaries is a lifelong lesson for me. It's why I teach it so much. But having good boundaries allows you to at least be notified in your body, right? To get that alert that something's not right. Your boundaries have been breached. You are taking on someone else's energy. And I knew it. And that was the beautiful part in it. I knew exactly what was happening. Then I had to navigate and open myself up to receive the lesson of why it was happening, right? Why it was happening. So once I really sat with myself, with what was happening, and really allowing myself to see all the times that I have done it throughout this whole entire lifetime, and really feeling where it was in my body, right? The sty began to heal immediately. And I felt this shift in my energy. And I spent most of the rest of this week not taking on anyone's energy in my family. And that was the beautiful thing, right? Was me being able to allow it to just move through me. And now that I had this conscious awareness, okay? So this is the same thing with the narcissist and the empath, right? I hear a lot of people talking about this. The narcissist. We all have a narcissist inside of us, right? Someone who we would label a narcissist, because remember, this is just us labeling them as humans, is someone who is unwilling to take responsibility for all the ick in their body, for all the toxic energy, for all the emotions that they have repressed and shoved down. And what happens is it's just like food poisoning, right? When you eat something that's bad, your body wants to get rid of it. It wants to expel it out of you. The same thing happens, but they do it with their words, right? And sometimes with their actions. Their body doesn't want it, but because they're not willing to deal with it, it just continuously spews out. So they will naturally draw people to them who will be sponges, who will absorb it. And this is why boundaries is a huge lesson for so many people right now. Understanding your energy is the key to boundaries. When you know your energy better than anybody else, you will be able to detect when you are taking on another's. And this is why it is so important that each and every person learns their energy, right? There is no magic pill here for boundaries. Boundaries is knowing yourself and not being willing to compromise it, okay? And remembering that when you choose to fix somebody or heal somebody or take away their pain, right? It's that whole misery loves company thing. We feel like we need to cry with our friends, cry with our kids. We're not here to take on their pain. We are here to hold space for them and show them by being the example how to work through it, what to do with those emotions. This is not anything that's taught in school. They don't teach emotional intelligence. They don't teach kids to read their own energy and to tune into when something's going wrong and how to deal with it. And so it's on the parents, right? So be the example, work with your emotions. And this is my warning to you to beware, right? Because all you're doing is creating dis-ease in your body. And when you take something on from another person, now it's yours. And now you are now responsible for clearing it, right? So when we say things like own your own shit, take responsibility for yourself, that's it. If every single person awoke and decided to take responsibility for their own emotions, for their own actions, for where they are on their journey, think about how beautiful this world would be. It would be amazing. But that's not what we do. We wake up, we begin to heal ourselves, and we're like, oh, let's go fix the world. There's nothing wrong with that. Anything beyond what we do for ourselves is like icing on the cake, right? But we first have to start with ourselves. You heal yourself, you heal the world. This is a really important lesson. And that's why I felt so called to share it with you. It's more important than psychic readings or anything else, is being able to not take responsibility for other people's stuff. In fact, it's one of the first lessons I learned when I went through Jack Canfield's coaching program to be one of his coaches. And that was E plus R equals O, right? The only way to change the outcome of any situation is to change your response or reaction. And a lot of that comes down to ownership, taking responsibility, right? For yourself, not for other people. So let me read through some of these comments. Hey, Patty, Lynette. No, it just died. Literally, just my live just died. Hey, Misty. Misty says, this is me. Yes. Hi, Brenda. I can relate, and stepping in for the adults is something we learned how to do so well to our detriment. Unlearning this pattern is an ongoing process. It is. And think about it. I'm glad you said that, because this reminds me, think about when you're a child, right? And your parents fight, or they get a divorce, or something happens. When they don't want, our children are so innocent, right? They're so open, and they want to feel better. And when they're sitting in an energy of a household that has upheaval in it, right? That has that icky energy, our children take that on too. They take it on and try to make it better, right? Because that's what they've learned. That's what we've always been learned to do. We're here to help and make someone else feel better. Give me a hug, it'll make you feel better, right? We want to make other people feel better. And children are no different. So if you grew up in a house where your parents fought a lot, or you saw a lot of traumatic things, and you didn't want your mom or dad to be sad, think about it. Did you take on their pain, right? Did you want to take that energy from them? That happens a lot, right? But I just keep hearing this over and over again, so I'm going to keep saying it. When you take on your children's pain, or anybody's pain for that matter, and you don't show them how to process it, or at least guide them through the power of processing it, or giving them the opportunity to process it, right? Then you are hindering them. You are doing them a disservice if they are not learning the lesson. So they're going to keep experiencing it. You're going to keep taking it on, and the cycle's just going to continue over and over and over and over again. It is their journey. It is their journey. And we just have to accept where they are on that journey is where they're supposed to be. And if they get stuck there, that's okay. We can guide them if they so choose, right? We can guide them and give them guidance, but we can't make them do things. And this actually was, and I think I mentioned this on my last Monday's live, and I may not have, but this was actually a really big fear of mine. It's why it took me so long to really start writing my book, because I was afraid, and I had this fear even when I put out Become Your Own Superhero, that book, that this would go, it would catch on like wildfire. It'd become a #1 bestseller, and it would be out. And then somebody would find out that my kids and my husband aren't perfect, and that they don't follow my processes, because for the most part, they don't. And that I would be ostracized, that I would be persecuted based upon my children and husband's decisions and why they weren't following what I teach. But here's the thing, they don't have to. They're their own people. They're on their own journey. So I am not defined by what anybody else does or doesn't do. Same with my clients. Clients can come in and pay me $5,000 for a course. If they choose to not do the work and not show up and not do that, that's on them. My expectation was to show up, was to do the work, was to guide them, to provide the healing, to teach them how to heal themselves. Right? That's it. I'm doing my part. If the other person does not want to do their part and take responsibility for theirs, why would I want to take that on and make that about me? Right? Say, oh my God, oh, something's wrong with me because this person won't do their stuff. I recently had someone, right, who was considering dropping my current course. And I made the decision for them and dropped them because you know what? No, I'm not going to battle and struggle and fight with somebody through a whole course and create upheavaled energy, right? Icky energy in my experience because they don't want to do the work. So I made that decision for them. I did what was best for the whole and what was best for me. And there's a lot of healers out there that won't do that as well. You know, they're too afraid of getting negative feedback. They're too afraid of that it will mean something about them. And it doesn't. What your children do or don't do, especially as they become adults, what your significant other does, the way they behave, the way they deal with their emotions and their thoughts is for them. If they ask for help, you can guide them, right? But it doesn't define you, and it's not your responsibility. It's not your responsibility to heal. Lynette says, this is so how I used to be as well. Lynette says, ownership of the problem. My mom used to do that to me, and I never understood it until I chose me. Then it all came across that I was trying to fix or save people rather than hold space for them. Hi, Julie. Hi, Kathy. Sylvia says, I started to ask my guidance to let me recognize but shield me from the energies that are not mine when I forget this. So here's the thing that I want to say about shielding. I don't teach energy protection. So if it doesn't resonate what I'm saying with you, that's okay. But I am gonna speak my truth about this. My team, what I work with, has shown me that energy protection, where we shield ourselves or do things like that, put ourselves in a bubble or all of those things, are actually a fear-based method, because the fact that you need to protect is a fear-based word, right? So I did this whole masterclass a couple of years ago. Actually, no, it was beginning of 2018. And channeled Metatron. Master Metatron is awesome for transmuting energy. And what he showed me was that we are meant to be the cloud, right? And so he used a lot of this type of terminology because at the time I was working with a lot of children. But being the cloud, we see that if you're as a cloud sits on the ground, right? As a cloud comes down and sits on the ground, it becomes fog, right? And as you get close to it, from far away, it looks dense, right? It looks like a block. But as you get closer to it, you begin to see through it, and then your car moves through it, right? That's how we're meant to be. We're meant to be the cloud. We're meant to allow things to move through our energy. And when it moves through our energy, we're able to understand what another is feeling. But that's not what happens generally, especially for highly sensitives and empaths. That energy begins to come in, and because they don't have good boundaries and they're not discerning, they hold on to it, right? And then they hold on to some more, and they hold on to some more. And what Metatron said in that masterclass was, think about a thunderstorm, right? A thundercloud, a thunderhead. That's what happens. The more we latch onto, the more that builds, the more that attaches, right? The more energy we're holding on to. And that's what a cloud is doing when it's building a thunderhead. It's bringing all the moisture, it's pulling all that energy from the ocean and everything else up into it, and it's holding it until it can't hold it anymore. And then you hear the crack, right? And that's when you have the thunder and the drop, the release of pressure. So that thunder is actually a crack of like a release of energy. It's an audible release of energy, right? And then the rain, of course, is also a release. So we see this play out in Mother Nature, but it's a good analogy for you to give to your children to help them understand how to let energy move through them, and for adults as well. The simpler we can make it, this is why I like using those kind of analogies, because it's really simple. We be the cloud. We set the attention for things to move through us, to get alerted when something isn't for us, right? And this is the power of understanding your own energy and being able to learn how to cleanse your energy and how to work with your auric field and all of those things. Hey, Tanya. I smell a t-shirt again. Hashtag own your own shit. Hey, Ryan. Hey, Chrissy. Kimberly says, most definitely, I just really learned the difference between internal and external emotional issues. It's been crazy ride. It's also so freeing. Not easy. Not my circus, not my monkeys. Yes, girl, that's it. Not my circus, not my monkey. It's so funny. Thank you for sharing. I love that. Donna says, I feel like a failure to myself. I'm trying to heal myself, but I feel like something is holding me back. Well, I'm not reading energy today, but I am in a hold space for you. If you feel called to work through it and have some guidance and some healing, you can reach out to me. I am going to be dropping a link when we're done for private sessions, and the sale is continuing for Reset and Reclaim, which is 8+ hours of understanding and learning your own energy field boundaries, healing codependency, learning how to reset your energy, all of those things. This is for anybody. This is a course designed all around the empaths and how to be empowered. So I will be putting a link for that as well. But the moral of this story and this lesson is, we are only responsible for healing ourselves, guys. We're only responsible for our own healing and the example that we are leading, the example that we are giving, right? So when we take on another's, when we try to fix them or make them better, we're hindering them. We're actually slowing down their progress. We're actually slowing down their their journey. And we need to become more aware of that. And please don't beat yourself up if you find that you're doing this. Awareness is key. Once we see it, now we can do something about it. Now we can take conscious action, right? And so that's the important part. I am a firm believer, and my take on mistakes is this. You can't have today's awareness without yesterday's mistakes. Mistakes are necessary. They have to happen in order for us to receive clarity, in order for us to learn the lesson and hold on to the lesson. I was doing a quantum soul session today, and that came up. When we hold on to that 1%, right? There's 1% we're not forgiving. We're holding on to it because we feel like we have to hold on to it so that we remember what happened, so that we remember what we did or what was done to us, so that we never forget it, right? But they say, no. That's you not forgiving completely. That's you holding on to hope that you can change something. You can't. It's done. It's done. What you can do is hold on to the lesson. So you can ask yourself this question. If I knew that I was about to experience X, Y, and Z again, what awareness, what do I know now that I didn't know then? There lies your lesson. Write it down. Write it down. Hold on to that lesson. Don't hold on to the memory. Don't hold on to the energy. Hold on to the lesson. That will ensure that you don't repeat it again. But when you hold on to that energy, all you're doing is calling in more of the same, more experiences, more things, right? So this is why having things like this happen are wonderful, right? I could be grateful and appreciative that I got a sty in my eye from energy that wasn't mine. I can be appreciative of that, because without it, I would not have learned the lesson. I would not have seen that I was making everybody else's pain my problem. And I was trying to heal them. My heart was in the right place, but I was doing a disservice to them and to me. And I'm not going to do it anymore. Okay. Any questions? I am going to be posting this up on YouTube as well. Please share it out if you feel that this resonated with you, if you feel that other moms, healers, humans, anybody could hear this message, use this message. If you are struggling, if you are working through something, If you're not sure where the pattern is or what the lesson is and would like me to hold space for you, would like to provide guidance for you, then I will be posting a link for Quantum Soul Sessions, which uses my modality. And I will also be posting a link to Reset and Reclaim, which is a course co-created with Ashley Pfeffer. And it is 8 hours plus of recordings of working through understanding how your blueprint, this is not cookie cutter, how your blueprint processes emotional density and mental clutter, how to create some boundaries, how the beginning stages of learning how to reset your energy, all of those good things, right? How to break the pattern of codependency, plus ridiculous so much more. I mean, this course is so extensive. So I'll be posting links for that if you feel called. If not, that's okay too. Reminder, I will be live again on Wednesday, and we will be doing another silent transmission. If there is an area in particular that you guys are struggling in that you would like me to bring healing forth for, then please feel free to PM me or comment below what you would like to see on those Wednesday's healings. Those are for you guys. They are from my heart to your heart to kind of just give you a little bit of support on your journey. Okay, so that's me asking you what you guys need, what you guys are looking for. And I am so grateful to each and every one of you that tuned in today. Namaste.